Good morning and welcome to the Daily Light Devotion. I hope all of you have had a wonderful Tuesday yesterday and looking forward to today. That is the 13th of May. Today we're going to look at Second Kings chapter 6 and 6, 7, and 8, and also look at John chapter 4, verses 31 to 54 in the New Testament. In the Old Testament, chapter 6, 7, and 8, the theme is God's protection, mercy, and sovereign power. Um, Israel faces danger, war, famine, and uncertainty. Yet throughout these chapters, God protects his people, God reveals hidden realities, and God shows mercy even to enemies. These events remind us that God is always at work, even when people cannot see it. They also point us towards Jesus, Savior who brings peace, healing, and hope. Um, Chapter 6, a borrowed axe head falls into the water. Elisha throws a stick into the river, and miraculously the iron floats. The small miracle shows God cares even about ordinary problems, right? The king of Aram sends soldiers to capture Elisha. Elisha's servant becomes terrified when he sees the the army surrounding the city. But Elisha prays and Lord opens his eyes. Suddenly the servant sees horses and chariots of fire surrounding Elisha. God's heavenly army was present the entire time. This reminds us God's protection is greater than what we can see. Jesus also brings peace in fearful situations. And God is always working behind the scenes. We are never alone when God is with us. Um, we see that God binds the enemies to get enemy soldiers, and Elisha leads them safely into Israel. Instead of killing them, Elisha tells the king to feed them and send them home. Peace forward follows afterwards. These point us to Jesus' teaching: love your enemies, show mercy instead of revenge. Right? Jesus offers grace even to those who reject him. God's mercy is stronger than hatred. Right? Verse 7. Uh, Samaria suffers from a terrible famine. Sorry, not verse 7, chapter 7. Everything seems hopeless. Then God promises sudden deliverance. During the night, God causes the enemy's armies to hear a sound of massive attacks. The enemies flee in fear. Supplies are left behind. Four lepers discover the empty camp and realize this is the day of good news. The lepers share the good news and saves the city. This reflects the gospel. Jesus brings good news to spiritually starving people. Those who receive grace are called to share it. The good news is of God's salvation is meant to be shared, right? Chapter 8, these chapters continue showing political change and conflict. Kings rise and fall, but God remains in control. Elisha warns about future sufferings, yet God's plan continues moving forward. Right? Even in unstable times, God's purposes are never defeated. Human kingdoms constantly change, but Jesus' kingdom is eternal. Unlike earthly rulers, Jesus rules with justice. His kingdom cannot fail, and true security is found in God's eternal kingdom. So, the key takeaway is that God protects his people even when unseen. Mercy reflects God's heart, and God brings hope into impossible situations. Jesus is the eternal King who never fails. Moving over to the New Testament, John chapter 4, verses 31 to 54, the theme is spiritual harvest and life giving faith. John chapter 4, 31 to 54, Jesus continues revealing who he is. After speaking with the Samaritan woman, Jesus teaches his disciples about spiritual harvest. Many Samaritans believe in him. Jesus heals a royal official's son. These events show that Jesus brings life, faith, and salvation to all. The disciples urge Jesus to eat, but Jesus responds, "My food is to do the will of him who sent me." And then Jesus points to the people coming towards him and says, "The fields are ripe for harvest." God is already preparing the hearts. People are spiritually searching. His followers are called to help gather the harvest. So Jesus came to rescue people and bring them into God's kingdom. The Samaritan villages once were outside, are now coming to believe in him. God desires people from every background to know him. At first, Samaritans believed because the woman's testimony, but after hearing Jesus themselves, they say, "We know that this man really is the Savior of the world." Jesus is not only the Savior of one nation, he is the Savior of every person, every being. This is a revolutionary because Jews and Samaritans were deeply divided. Yet Jesus breaks barrier and offers salvation freely. Jesus welcomes all who come to him in faith. A royal official comes to Jesus because of his son is dying. He begs Jesus to heal the child. Jesus tells him, "Go, your son will live." The official believes Jesus' words and begins the journey home. Before arriving, his servants meet him with the good news. The boy recovered the exact moment Jesus spoke. The entire household believes in Jesus. This miracle shows Jesus' authority over sickness and life. Faith trusts Jesus even when seeing results. Jesus' word is powerful and trustworthy. Real faith believes Jesus even before the circumstances changes, right? So what are some of the key takeaways? Jesus came for all people. God is preparing hearts for salvation. Jesus' words carry life and power, and faith trusts Jesus completely. These passages remind us Jesus is calling people to himself. No one is beyond God's grace, and faith grows when we trust his word. Like the Samaritan woman, may we share what Jesus has done, and like the royal official, may we trust Jesus even before we see the outcome, because his words bring life and hope and salvation. I hope this encourages you. Have a wonderful Wednesday. I'll see you tomorrow.